This phone right here, the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, has taken some of the best pictures that I've ever taken on a smartphone. So let me share with you my 2-month experience with this camera. The best way to test a smartphone camera is to take it with you on vacation. That's exactly what I did. We got to go on a week-long cruise. We stopped at a bunch of beautiful destinations. It was amazing. This is really the perfect case scenario because I am blessed with a beautiful family and I want to capture as many moments as I can with them and take as many pictures as I can. And when I'm not shooting video, I don't carry around my dedicated mirrorless camera anymore. I just rely on what's in my pocket. So I decided to take the Mate 20 Pro as my primary camera, and I knew it was going to do pretty good, but I didn't think it was gonna be this good. We came home and me and my wife were looking through the pictures and we were just blown away by the results, and we were totally reliving those moments. And now I have this incredible emotional connection with this camera because of how well it captured those moments. And I don't think another smartphone could have captured them the way that the Mate 20 Pro did. And let me explain why. There were so many great memories from the trip, but there's one that stands out to me the most, and that was the time at the beach. And this was my 2-year-old daughter's first time in the water, and she was super excited, and her and her brother had a blast. They didn't want to get out of that water. We just stayed there pretty much all day long. But one of the biggest advantages of the Mate 20 Pro is that I'm able to do portrait photography from much farther away than I can do with other smartphones. It gave me so much more flexibility from a distance, and that triple camera system with that 5x hybrid zoom, I was able to get some much tighter open aperture shots from where I was sitting. It's really impressive, and even though it's not as sharp, they're still usable, and it really captures some of these beautiful moments. I wasn't afraid to drop it in the water, so I had to capture my daughter's first time in the water. And these pictures here are what really did it for me. These shots are straight out of the camera, no edits, all auto on open aperture mode. Look at the sharpness and that perfect capture of the water while she cut through it. The water is sharp, there's no blurring. It's like it's frozen in time. I shared this picture on Twitter as soon as I saw it. This was the picture that most people commented on, and it was clear that people were just as impressed as I was. I took a lot more at the beach that day, of course. Here are a few more samples. I just kept it in open aperture mode most of the time, mixed with a few portrait mode shots. The color science definitely changes when these modes are activated, and the Leica and Huawei partnership really shows in these pictures. And with that 3x optical zoom and also the 5x hybrid zoom, I was able to capture much closer even from the beach while my wife was in the water. We spent all day there. The water was super clear. The temperature was perfect. It was one of the most memorable times we had. And looking back at all these pictures now, the Mate 20 Pro did an incredible job. So many frame-worthy shots. I mean, just look at the size of this boat. I had to use the ultra wide angle camera just to get it all in the frame. I took so many pictures in that 1 week's time, but we got to visit a lot of cool places. We got to quickly visit Puerto Rico. It was really, really beautiful there. We got to visit Old San Juan and a few other places. The kids ran around like crazy. They were happy to be off the boat for a while. This camera is so sharp that it even caught my son's nasty runny nose. It's pretty gross, I know, but it really shows off the detail of the camera. I really wish we had more time there. We only stayed there for half a day or so, and we got to get that bucket list shot at Fortaleza Street. This is that Instagram umbrella street. My wife was super scared that I was gonna drop her, but I didn't. It was our 12-year anniversary that day, so this shot was perfect to remember that day. We got to go to dinner later that night thanks to our friends that came with us. They watched the kids. We ate in a really dim lit restaurant that night, but night mode helped me capture some really nice shots. The easiest way to explain it is like HDR mode for nighttime. So even though it was really dark in there, I was able to get some good shots of this very next level food. It was great. I couldn't believe that I was eating this on a cruise ship. Basically, all I did was eat on this cruise. I mean, look at this beautiful food. I just couldn't help it. We stopped at a few more places, and we got to stop at St. Martin, which was really, really cool. There was that beach where all the airplanes come down, and that was really, really exciting. But this is the one time where I actually missed my mirrorless camera, is because that's one thing that this camera could do a little bit better, and that is the 4K video. Now, it's really cool that you can capture 4K video with the ultra wide angle camera. It was able to give me a different perspective, so I was able to capture a few things with it. But I do have to say that this 4K video is a little bit softer and it's not as sharp and the colors are not as nice as some of the other flagship phones that are out there. So I was definitely missing a dedicated video camera to capture these moments. Now, that doesn't mean that this can't be fixed by software update. I just was really hoping for a better 4K video here. Don't get me wrong, it's not that it's unusable, and some people might not care, but I was definitely missing the 4K 60 frames per second option. So I hope that Huawei does improve this over time and matches video with photography in the near future on their smartphones. Don't worry, I'm not gonna forget about low light. I know there were some keyboards about to be activated real quick, but low light performance on the Mate 20 Pro is also good as well. Night mode definitely makes a difference. I took some shots in comparison. You definitely get more boosted shadow detail and more detail overall when you use this mode. Basically, it just stitches a bunch of different exposures together, all handheld, and then it creates a better picture. So basically like HDR at nighttime. I know Google's night sight is out, but I don't want people to forget that Huawei did this first on the P20 Pro. Night mode's been out for a while now, so basically similar, but it's nice to have this on the camera. And it's not just this vacation that I've actually used this. So when this phone was launched, I was actually in London. We took a bunch of pictures there too. So here are some nighttime pictures that I took out in London, and a lot of them are really good with some really good noise reduction, and the sharpness is good, especially in night mode. Now there are a few pictures here and there that I definitely took that were a little noisy and they were not perfect. And remember, the camera is always getting updated with software updates. I think since then I've had about 2 camera software updates since then, so also keep that in mind. But overall, the low light performance is pretty good. And even in the rainy situations that I was in London, I took some incredible shots again with the distance of this portrait mode or open aperture mode. I was able to take a picture of a person farther away from me, and the color science just hit so well. This is straight out of the camera, and I was just blown away by this. And also this umbrella shot looked really good. You can see the individual raindrops that are dropping here. So it took a bunch of cool pictures in London as well. So the reason why I wanted to do a video like this is because I want to show people my experience with the camera over 2 months, and that experience definitely overcomes whatever specs there are on camera. It doesn't matter how many megapixels it is, doesn't matter how many cameras are on the back. There could be 10 on the back, and I don't want to give people the wrong impression. This camera is not perfect. You do get some grainier shots sometimes. You will get some over sharpening, you will get some overexposure. The 4K video can be better. So I'm not saying this is the best camera that's out there, but the way that the Huawei Mate 20 Pro has changed me as a photographer because of the options that I'm getting the 3 times, the 5 times zoom, I'm getting the portrait mode abilities from farther away with open aperture mode. It has really just changed the way I look at things and the way that I actually take photography, and the results just speak for themselves. So a lot of people have been asking me, should you buy this over an iPhone or the latest Galaxy Note 9 or whatever may be out there? It all depends, because experience and connection with a phone and a camera is a big deal to me. They did the same thing with the P10. I remember when they introduced the monochrome camera, I was walking around the streets of Barcelona with Ash, and I just remember looking at lines differently, looking at buildings differently, looking at shadows, and I was able to get different type of pictures, and it just changed me as a creative person. So if that's the experience you're going to get out of a phone, I say definitely buy it, but everybody is going to differ, and that's okay. And that's why there is a lot of different devices out there. But let me know, what do you think of this camera? What do you think about this format? I kind of want to do this more if people are digging it. Make sure you subscribe for a lot more, including the Huawei Mate 20 Pro full review that's coming very soon. So make sure you subscribe and hit that thumbs up button, and I will see you guys in the next one.